Here we go. We got another show match. And we got a man who we haven't seen in what feels like forever. But he's back, Dan. Dan will win a show match, another cross-region show match. We're gonna do 2 best of 3s. And of course, Dan will start off with a nice double flip reset. This is East, by the way. Oh, well, we'll just play East. Chat, typing as fast as I can. We are gonna just do East first. I plan on doing Europe and then East, but I forgot to switch it. So we'll just play the US East games, which will make it even tougher for Lewsual. I always try and give the player I think is the underdog their servers first, so that they can get going on their servers and see if they can keep that momentum going into the opposition servers. But that's not how it's going to work for Lewsual. He's going to play on super duper hard mode. He's going to have to deal with Daniel on East and then try and handle him again on his own servers. But Daniel's on an insane streak. Daniel is on a 19, I think, game winning streak. The previous winning streak was held by Kinsey. He won 18 games in a row before ever losing. And I think Lewsual kind of just saved his own shot there, but he will eventually score. Daniel, although he's not on a 19-0 streak, he is on a 19-game winning streak since the Feer 500 Season 2. Dan is undefeated. He is not undefeated. He has been beat many times. A lot of people ask, when was the last time Dan lost? It was against iRicky. We mentioned when he played iRicky a couple days ago, or I guess a week or so ago now. That was him redeeming his final loss. I don't think he's really lost to anybody else on stream that he hasn't redeemed at some point, and his most recent one was iRicky, and I think he got a 3-0 sweep against iRicky. So he has absolutely been in the zone. Not only has he dominated every top 1v1 player we could throw at him, we threw Mile, who's another top 1v1 player. He's played Wiz, he's played Evo, who is really one of the top contenders, I would argue now too, multiple times, and has been able to handle him. And we had a big question mark. The big question mark was, could he take Lion Blaze down? Lion Blaze, we thought, was going to make it to him in the Fear 5, and we got to see if Daniel could beat Lion Blaze, who, you know, is currently one of the select few in the argument for the best North American 1v1er. But we got robbed. We got robbed of it because Chronic was just on fire. Chronic said, I'm not going to let anybody play Daniel. Ended up beating practically everyone in the Fear 5, including Lion Blaze. So we never got to see that Daniel versus Lion Blaze game. But Daniel and Lion Blaze both played in the Space Station Gaming Airlock 1v1, which was a 1v1 tournament this last weekend of a lot of top players, and they met in the finals, and Daniel was able to beat him. Daniel took him down what I believe was 3-1 in the finals for a lot of money, so you know those guys both tryharding as hard as they could, and Daniel came in on top. So I'm not sure there's anybody left, especially not North America. Of course there's First Killer, the hibernating top 1v1 player who has not come out of his shell in a while. And at this point, you could argue he could be scared to come out of his shell with the way Daniel's been playing. Another double flip reset from Dan, and a 4th goal. Dan refusing to do it with a single flip reset this game. This one looks almost like a carbon copy of the last one. Able to get just enough height to get it over Lewsual. Lewsual not able to save that because he's trying to defend it off the wall, but the interesting thing is he's defending it off the wall low. And one of the best advantages of defending it on the wall is the fact that you can get up high and make saves without, you know, having to jump or, you know, using any boost to get up there. But Lewsual is playing wall defense, and he's playing wall defense almost right next to the ground. And I have to assume that's because he's thinking about transferring at just, honestly, the worst moment. And Daniel is able to get away with a fairly low shot. I mean, the double flip reset is hard to track and hard to predict, but ultimately it's crossing the goal line fairly low to the ground, which a defender on the ground could handle easier. But of course, as soon as Lewsual goes to the ground and tries to defend from the ground, Daniel will just start slotting them in the top corner where Lewsual can't get up to. But Lewsual's had a couple open field shots to keep it close, and it's important to note right now, Lewsual is playing on East servers. I think I might have said it already, but I'll say it again. We're gonna play 2 sets of 3, not best of 3s, but sets of 3 on their various servers, and Lewsual playing on US East and tying it up. playing in the Batmobile. We haven't seen Lewsual play in the Batmobile before, I don't think. And a great single jump keeps Daniel grounded. He tries to find a way to squeeze underneath, but Lewsual is smart. Doesn't use any boosts, doesn't use his second jump, just comes back down to the ground and bumps Daniel out of the way. Daniel with 2 minutes left to go. We just saw Lewsual grind to an eventual win against Khaled in ranked over the course of a month. And then we saw that Lewsual was just on. Why not just have him play here in person as opposed to just watching him against the best 1v1ers? Let's have him play some of the best 1v1ers, see just how much he has gained in the past few months. I found out about Lewsual first with him just winning certain tournaments. I'm not sure I'd even really seen him in the top 100 too much, but it seemed like he was winning a bunch of these 1v1 tournaments I knew about. And that's when I realized we were dealing with one of the top 1v1ers in the game. He right now has Daniel only up 1, which is something to hang your hat on. A nice well-placed shot from Daniel, and Lewsual is trying to operate on very little boost. And the calm play from Daniel. He knows he has the boost advantage. No reason to panic for him, but he's still not able to find a way in. Lewsual doing a good job of recovering from some panic pre-jumps that ultimately Daniel was not able to capitalize on. This long shot will get saved away as well. Lewsual has to continue to play with very little boost. But Dan has had no trouble doing it before. Lewsual gets a respawn, so he's got 100. But Daniel into a bounce dribble and a great play. Look at this very intentional setup. Daniel dropping it, giving it that sideways momentum, and just making it impossible for Lewsual to know when to go up and get the save. And you see that happen so frequently in 1v1s. A defender with low boost will be fighting tooth and nail to stay with the ball and keep that offender out. And as soon as they buy themselves some time to grab 100, that ends up being their downfall, because they finally, you know, release the pressure and give that offender some space, thinking that it will equalize by letting themselves grab corner boost. But I feel like almost more often than not, it doesn't end up working that way. That being said, Daniel with an insane challenge right now. He just must have thought for sure Lewsual was going to go, because he kind of pre-jumps as Lewsual gets a soft touch, and trying to win that 50 is just bonkers. But Lewsual playing very patient. He's going to get a free wide open net with Daniel playing a little bit antsy in his back corner. A big fake with 18 seconds left to go. Dan wants to try and hold on to the ball. This first soft touch in front of his net seemed risky, but he stayed calm, and he took a strong touch across the net. If Lewsual had predicted that, he could have made Dan look really, really silly. But his ball has been in Dan's corner for every second of the fast few moments, but he'll let it hit the ground. And Dan will take the first game on US East. Lewsual keeping it close, but Dan gonna go up 1-0. Dan versus Lewsual. Dan and Lewsual, a nice United Kingdom versus United States of America matchup. Daniel forgetting that he has to stop the ball from going in. He can't just demo the other player. Gonna get a nice demo and gonna get scored on here to start the game. Yo, what's up, Soros? Lewsual with another early possession off kickoff. A nice cut, and wait. Oh. Thought maybe the angle was there. I'm going to have a perfect repeat of the demo goal. Daniel has bounce dribble challenged early by Lewsual with a backflip before it can really get started. Great switch up of the play from Lewsual. 2-0 from Lewsual. Sees the demo coming, pulls off the ball, but uses the single jump into the wave dash to get right back to it, plus the little bit of boost he had saved. And a quick dodge and a second the other way. Daniel's been playing really physical at the start of this game, and it hasn't necessarily been working for him. He got that demo, or those first two demos. The first one was a goal for Lewsual. The second one was an almost goal. And the third one was a complete miss. Lewsual able to dodge it and grab a second. We have not seen Daniel put on his back foot very often, but for the first minute of this game, Lewsual has been fully in control And Dan has been struggling to get possession, but a nice long shot all the way from his half will break the seal for him just after the first minute mark. This E or NA? These are on NA. This is the first 3 are on US East. These guys playing on East right now. Dan, a kickoff. Oh my goodness, wow. I thought he had slotted too high. You should be able to win a majority of kickoffs, but I've actually been really impressed with these high ping 1v1ers. And when I say high ping, I just mean whoever the top 1v1er is playing on the wrong server. They don't just get abused on the kickoff as much as I thought they would. They seem to figure it out pretty easily, or just rely on the muscle memory to do a good enough job for them. So yeah, I'm not sure what else to say about that, but I'm just very impressed with how the high ping guys handle the kickoffs. It usually doesn't go terribly in the other player's favor. That being said, Daniel did score that previous kickoff and is able to get a full field touch here for the lead once again. He put 5K on the Danimal, he better win. Shoosh. Yeah, so far, the past 19 games, it's been the right call to put some channel points on Daniel. But Lewsual has looked really good so far, and I really like setting him up against players he maybe doesn't play as frequently. And I know there's a lot of top 1v1ers that he probably doesn't play. Great pinch. Daniel's so crafty, gonna find a 4th. How he turned this into a shot attempt, I do not know. Lewsual stuck on low boost, diving a little bit too deep. What's their ping? Daniel is at around 50, so this must be more like a Midwest server or something. Or I guess Midwest would be perfect ping for him, so maybe it is pretty far east, but Lewsual's at 120. And Lewsual can get lower ping than that. We've seen him get 90 ping servers on East. So really we should probably cycle it a bit until we get him a 90 ping one, but he's not a complainer. He doesn't complain about it at all. He's just been grinding out in the 120 ping, and he's been doing a good job at that. So why stop now? A nice pre-jump save on the double touch. Daniel launching this one into Lewsual, but getting the kill and not having to worry about any sort of shot attempt. Nice slow play, changing the pace. He's really threatening a super powerful hook shot here at first. And when he doesn't take it, Lewsual starts to hit the brakes. Not hold the brakes, but hit the brakes. And ends up just kind of freezing him. You see Lewsual just stuck in position between trying to go forward and back, not knowing where Daniel's going to go. All of a sudden, he is just a complete sitting duck. And Dan doesn't have to rip that hard of a shot to get it past him once he's completely freezed the defender like that. Dan from the side wall. Will he find a way to shoot this? Like I said, we've been surprised before. One day I'll stop saying it's impossible to find a way. That being said, I would have been right if I finally said it this time. Daniel doesn't find a way to shoot this one. Instead, it's an easy freebie for Lewsual. Can we do Daniel versus 4 diamonds? I don't have 4 diamonds on tap for you. Also, I think he'd be able to handle 4 diamonds. I think. Maybe not. 4 is a lot of diamonds. Daniel, a kickoff in the fake. Showing the 45-degree flick. He actually went into the flip. I don't know if he thought maybe he'd win it in case Lewsual touched it. But he did end up flipping. But I guess it was technically a fake. The ball is so far separated from him. He never had a chance of actually touching it. Lewsual, a demo and lots of open field. Daniel cutting it off so quickly. What kind of spawn did he get? He got such a quick spawn, it felt like, and he rushed the ball so fast. Lewsual should have had some space, but Daniel completely erased it. A nice dodge for the demo attempt. Always a risk when your air dribble bump is not going to cross the plane of the net without hitting the ground. If it's gonna bounce, it means that defender can usually sneak around under you and still get the save. Daniel does exactly that. Dan 7-3, a much more in his favor game number 2 than game number 1. Trying once again, no way! No way, this ended up scoring! This double flip reset from Lewsual, or from Daniel. Let's watch it from Lewsual's perspective. Dude, Daniel! How does he find a way? Lewsual, oh, it's so laggy. That's a bummer. Lewsual, he's nowhere near the net. Lewsual is camping out what seems like way more than far enough away from the ball, such that he won't be surprised by any sort of play. But Daniel finds a way to rip a couple of quick touches and somehow get the shot over him. A nice miss at midfield, though, will be an easy one for Lewsual. Has Daniel ever played? Apparently Jack. According to Twitch chatters, he has, and he's lost a million times. But according to Daniel himself, I think he said he's only ever played Jack once in ranked or something like that. And I think Dan said he won. Now, who are we going to believe? I don't know. Nice play from Dan. I would tend to believe Daniel than random Twitch chatter, but who am I to say? (9-4), serious lead here for Dan. Lewsual needs to steal a game in North America. If he's not able to win this one or the next, he can at best play for a tie. And I don't know if he can rely on winning all of his EU games against Dan. Nice counterattack for his fifth. Daniel pulling his best Evo impression, orbiting around the boost instead of grabbing it. Jack put one of those games on YouTube, I think. Interesting. Well, if that was the only ever game they played against each other, then that could be possible. Dan with a full field dribble, trying to get like a sideways breezy setup to flick the ball online. Wasn't able to, and he'll just coat to this ball early. Not trying to take a shot attempt, just trying to get Lewsual off the ball, and it's working very well. No way Lewsual scores 4 in the next 10 seconds. So Dan, going up 2-0 here on his own servers. Needs to grab one more to put himself in a good spot to win the series. Dan up 2-0, Lewsual searching for that first US East win. All right, we've got Lewsual some better ping. We're game number 3 on US East servers. Instead of playing with 120, he's gonna play with 88. And I mentioned that before, we could get better servers for him. Oh my goodness, that default cam setting bug there for a second. I knew we could get him a better server, and he didn't complain about it. He just played against the toughest to play 1v1er on terrible ping. But he finally admitted, hey, can we get a better server? Yeah, of course, man, of course. Took us no time. First try got us a better server. So Lewsual gonna play on 90 ping, and maybe, just maybe, he'll be able to steal one of these US East games, and that'll put him in a great spot to finish the series out on EU. Who is apparently Daniel? I forgot we're on a quest to 4,200 YouTube subs. We're getting close, chat. By the way, in the last month, or not month, in the last week that I wasn't able to stream, but we still released YouTube videos, the YouTube completely took a huge lead on the Twitch in terms of following numbers. Nice tight angle. Good catch from Dan, not letting it hit the ground. It was a quick 1-2 on the volley. That being said, we have had some Twitch followers. Oh, and Chad hosted for 28 viewers. I'm sorry, man, 28 million viewers. Appreciate the host a lot. Sorry I didn't mention it during the show match. Lewsual, the counterattack for a second. Not much of a counterattack, but Daniel just lobbing the ball to the back wall. Mad respect to Lewsual for being able to keep up on even with a lot of lag. Second goal for Dan. Straight up kickoff. Chat. We're just gonna watch these guys slam in immediate goals. How does that sound? Lewsual gonna get an immediate goal of his own. Daniel front flip kickoffing there. Not sure I've seen Daniel do a just straight up front flip kickoff in a while. Usually you don't see those guys going for anything but diagonal or speed flips. But apparently, every once in a while, they throw in just a nice, boring front flip. Lewsual! Great shot in the air. He gives us at least one of these, but he doesn't seem to like to go for it very often. He usually plays on the ground. You don't see him setting up these aerial plays very much. But this ends up working perfectly. He floats enough behind the ball to convince Daniel to stay grounded. And that final touch at the end, threatening the musty and then getting it kind of off the bounce. Squeezes it past Dan. Dan frozen, just watching the spectacle. Nice dribble. So hard to score these dribbles. But Lewsual playing for the potential flip reset. Instead, Daniel just rushes it to the top of the net. Those are the kind of shots that never used to score before people got so good at every sort of aerial play. Dan, rolling ground dribble. What a shot, great flick. Lewsual does not want to challenge him. Not even willing to shadow close. We watch this from Lewsual. Yeah, I mean, Dan just does a good job of setting that ball up in a terrible position. When he's hovering on the right side of the ball while it's rolling right, he can just cut at any moment. Lewsual really can't afford a challenge. So by the time he's reset on boost and looking back at the ball, he has to just sit and watch. And a great flick from Dan, and a tie game. Daniel playing from behind for the first time in a while, but able to handle it so far. 3 minutes left to go. Lewsual, another high flick. And that might have been crossbarred in or might have been crossbarred out. But either way, Daniel gonna tap it away, and Daniel, the fake challenge, completely freaking out Lewsual. You could tell he increased his speed of play there by so much more than he wanted to try and prevent Daniel from taking it away. Daniel with the power slide into the demo on Lewsual. What a shot. That was a ridiculous shot. So not necessarily what a shot in a good way, but Daniel trying to surprise Lewsual with a power shot that wasn't expected on a weird upside down flip into the ball. That being said, it wasn't anywhere near accurate enough. 4-4, 2 minutes left to go. Lewsual keeping it close late into the game. Has had a couple different shot attempts here. Oh my goodness, Dan. Able to make the read on Lewsual's attempt. Can he get the counterattack? Danimal on the defense. His defense is impeccable. He's able to save the really well-placed high flick. It did force Dan to use the last bit of boost that he had left, but he makes the read on the follow-up shot from Lewsual, and he is rewarded with a 5-4 lead on the other side of the field. Dan off the wall, using the flip early to continue the dribble. He slows it down! Lewsual! Lewsual not able to get the save. Daniel, how did he score on this one? He ends up tapping it back. Oh no! Lewsual trying to dodge the bump. He wanted to get in the way of the ball, but Daniel was on the same trajectory, and so he used his flip to pull back and not get bumped, and ended up having to watch the slow roller go in his net. Daniel finding a way to score in new ways every time. Who knew the slow rolling flip reset used to kill the ball could also be a way to score from the air. 1:23 left to go. Way too much separation on that dribble. Daniel seemingly trying to bait Lewsual into challenging, but so much so that challenging was actually a good idea. Oh my. Daniel, the placement for the corner. He's had a couple different good corner shots. First from the left corner, this time from the right. Oh my, wow. There's nothing you could do about that. He hits the inside of the corner of the post, not even just the crossbar and down. He just puts it ever so perfectly, and he didn't need to. Up 6-4, he did not need that dime of a shot, but he still shoots for it. And now he's up 3 with a minute left to go, trying to secure all of his NA games. This was why we tried to play on EU servers first. try and get Lewsual some momentum instead of having to go into the EU games completely down. That being said, Lewsual has played really, really well. And I think he could have momentum if he, you know, has a good head on his shoulders. He's played really a great series on US East against Dan. The first game he kept very, very close. This one he had late into the game, just some final goals, making it look like more of a severe win for Dan than it might have actually been. But Lewsual's gonna hop out. Daniel, a clip for the road potentially, off the back wall. He'll slam against the back wall. 3-0 for Dan on US East. But next comes the EU games. Lewsual's home field. GG's as we switch over to EU. 100 ping for Dan, 32 ping for Lewsual. I forgot to update the scoreboard, and I have promised not to do it in game, but I'm gonna have to break my promise, YouTube. I'm sorry. If there becomes a prize pool, I promise not to update it, but I do have to promise to update the scoreboard on the first goal. There it is from Lewsual, playing in the Fennec. We will update Dan up 3-0. Sorry about that, guys. Lewsual. Also in the Fennec, somebody in Twitch chat said Lewsual doesn't stand a chance unless he hops in the Fennec. Well, here he is, playing the Fennec. Dan been playing the Fennec all along. A kickoff one, up the sidewall, flip reset super early, and the classic Dan move. This is maybe more classic than his insane plays. The ability to just convince a defender to pre-jump his nasty shot and then wait. The nasty shot never comes and the ball just bounces into the net. Lewsual kickoff goal. This is EU servers. We talked about how these guys are usually able to handle their high ping kickoffs better than I expected. That being said, the first couple on EU going in favor of Lewsual. Or at least I should say 2 out of 3. Dan did get that immediate win to the side wall. Lewsual catch and flick. Wow, he completely killed that ball. That was a high bounce that he turned into absolutely nothing. Watching from Daniel's perspective, he couldn't think that Lewsual was going to catch and kill it and flick it that fast. It seemed like the ball should have bounced a little bit higher and almost looked like Dan was trying to time it off that high bounce. And who knows on 100 ping whether or not he saw the high bounce happen. But Lewsual finally going to get the benefits of the ping as opposed to having to play the tough ping game. But that being said, Daniel having no trouble faking Lewsual even without the help of the ping. A soft touch and just hovering behind the ball, but really turning and facing his car to win a 50. If Lewsual had actually touched it and it had not been a fake out, he would likely have been able to win the 50 and stay in the game. A direct kickoff loss again. Lewsual up 4-2. Dan saving some boosts on these kickoffs. I'm not sure I've seen Dan lose as many direct kickoffs as I have against Lewsual. Lewsual, an interesting kickoff apparently. Maybe high risk, high reward. Seems like he's also had a few direct ones scored on him more than you see in the average game. A nice challenge. Playing unafraid despite a serious boost disadvantage. But he's not able to stay with possession of the ball. A good clear, but Dan will finish it off. Lewsual did a good job to take away the ball with an extreme boost disadvantage, but man, Dan pulling off of that shot on net, realized he wasn't going to be able to get it, instead focusing on getting himself back to the ground and playing on the Lewsual follow-up, on the follow-up off of Lewsual's touch. Lewsual still, though, playing from the lead. Ceiling reset. As he floats behind this ball, he might convince Dan to stay grounded, but Dan doesn't look as afraid. Maybe that's because he's not having to play defense against himself. But when he plays defense in these situations, he apparently knows he can take it away and doesn't stay frozen. What was the Khaled versus Lewsual score? They played 4 ranked matches that we played back. Khaled won 3 of them. Tie game. Full field dribble from Daniel the bump! And the last kiss of the ball after Lewsual bumped him back into it. It does not get much farther than this. I think from inside that like 5-yard box, or whatever you want to call it, on Daniel's half of the field, I'm not sure there's any space to get an aerial started from farther back. Daniel taking it the full length to take the lead. Once again, he's done it so many times in the series. Lewsual has actually seen a lead a few times. Started off with a considerable one here. A good save, but can he get back to that? No, so well placed from Daniel. Daniel keeping the pressure on. That shot maybe was crossbarring out, but Lewsual had to do something about it. Could not afford to watch it go by. Otherwise, Daniel would have had an even easier shot attempt. So a 2-goal lead. Lewsual has to stop the bleeding quick, and that's not going to be the way to do it. Getting taken off the field. Daniel likely trying to kill that ball and take a quick shot. Accidentally lobs it up to the moon on the bounce dribble, so Lewsual able to spawn and get back in time. A nice demo and grab the boost. Lewsual, can he carry this one in? The nice, not really ground pinch, but ground double for a 5th. Nice quick play at the boost. Lewsual, a kickoff loss, but not really, as it dies in his corner and gives him time to grab boost. Another good demo dodge on Dan. Last time he was able to turn that into a bucket, but this time he uses up all of his boost for nothing. Did he think Daniel was coming up in the air? Oh, he's so afraid of the potential Daniel aerial. Felt like he needed to get up for that ball, and he might have been able to, you know, play some damage control if he tried to kill that touch and drop it straight down with him, but instead he got a fairly strong tap on it, put it right out to Daniel's breadbasket. He's gonna be able to score on that every day of the week. There's not a world in which he won't put on a shot before Lewsual comes soaring back down to the ground. A 50 in front of the net and a long shot for an 8th. Danimal up 3 with 1:30 left to go. Lewsual has to hold down the fort 100% here on the EU servers to tie Dan in games, and a great shot. Man, Lewsual, why does he not go for this stuff more often? He doesn't seem to like many setups, or doesn't go for the setups, but he plays really, really well off the ceiling. Holds on to that reset, and Dan, trying to be patient on the back wall, ends up being too patient, and Lewsual pushing it past him just inside the far post. The 1:20 left to go. Lewsual needs the kickoff in his favor at the end of this game. Dan, a strong power shot off the backboard. He's just going to continue to place these. It's such a tough spot. Daniel not taking that high touch. Seemed like he had the opportunity. Instead, will waste time a little bit longer. Maybe he thought Lewsual was going to get up. Lewsual, a good bump. Was able to grab that corner boost. But Daniel was holding on to enough to recover. Wow, what a quick shot. Lewsual thought he had an opportunity to get cheeky, steal some back boost. Do you ever miss the goal? No way, says Dan. Lewsual, for 1 second, gets on the wrong side of the ball, not defending his net. Daniel so fast on the 1-2 punch to get his 9th. 40 seconds left to go. Daniel falling from the ceiling, far away from the net. The triple will not go online. Lewsual gonna need some magic. It's not over for him. If he can get a nice hook shot here, which he does, wow, screamer. 9-7, he needs a couple good kickoffs, and he's gotten these kickoffs before. He's had many different direct kickoffs in this game, probably 2 straight back-to-back in this series already. I wonder if Daniel will fake this kickoff. Yep, he's faked the diagonal kickoffs before, especially when he wants to secure the game. He's not going to deal with it. Would rather just take this ball into his corner, and Lewsual forced to be aggressive and gets caught out. The long shot from Dan and the secure of game number 1 on EU. And I'm down to play out the set of 3 here on EU servers if they want to keep going. But technically, Daniel has won. We're going to be playing 6 games. He's already won 4. So there's no way that Lewsual could come back and take a lead in the series, but he could show. Wow, what a shot. Dan ripping it. Lewsual's going to leave the match. We're going to act like nothing happened. And guess what? If you are a YouTube frog, nothing did happen. Nothing weird just happened. The internet didn't just die randomly, even though it wasn't giving us any issues at all. And we had to restart it and get it back. No, no, no. No way did that happen, chat. We have just been here the whole time. Lewsual going to continue out his games on EU. Dan's down to keep playing. Lewsual's down to keep playing. We'll see if Lewsual can steal any EU games, or if Daniel... We get the full sweep on both EU and NA. It's my B-Day tomorrow. Why do I believe that that's not possible, that you have that account and it's always your B-Day tomorrow? Lewsual in the Octane. This was the car that beat O'Khaled when we watched him earlier. Maybe this car will be the recipe. Well, we love to fight the internet. We fight it in so many different ways. You weighing your 666 channel points back if the series won't be played to the end? Oh, I think Daniel already got the win for the channel points as far as they're determined. I'm sorry, I'm switching back and forth at like the worst times. Lewsual finding a way to not get... Wait, what? To not get scored on that air dribble, and then Dan ripping an own goal. Trying to put that one off his own backboard, maybe. Lewsual from the side wall. He has a lethal wall to air dribble. His wall to air dribble is really, really good. Daniel is one of the best defenders against every sort of attack, specifically the wall to air dribbles that he's so good at. But Lewsual just crushing it. A no way from Dan. Maybe he thought he was going to get there. He's rocking 120 ping now. A nice shoe on the other foot situation, as Lewsual had to deal with 120 in the first couple games of the series. Daniel, the early flip reset. Oh, what? Okay is right. There's nothing else to be said. Chat, he ripped so much speed out of that. 91 kilometer per hour, and that was after it hit the crossbar and went down. That was absolutely faster than 90 kilometers per hour, but he got crossbar and down on top of all of that. Oh my goodness. I don't even know what to say. That was the most insane shot. Nobody in the world's ever saving that. That was so much heat. And Daniel, he flies into the ball so fast on his flip resets. And it's so impressive that he's able to kill his momentum perfectly. I think it's really an art, flying into the ball that quickly and being able to completely stop your momentum and stay with the ball when you're starting off with such varying speeds. I mean, we see other players get those really nice flip resets and do them by hovering off the ball slow, but Daniel can rip the ball far away from himself and then rush back to it and get that flip reset from so far away and then turn it into stuff like that insane musty. He almost got a scoop air roll shot. I think we might end up seeing a little bit more of a clip-thirsty Daniel now that he's secured 4 games out of the 6 that these guys are going to play. And that might be more exciting than anything else we've seen if Daniel continues to put on a show. Lewsual from the back corner trying to get into a dribble situation that we like to call the Daniel dribble, but Daniel not going to let him. A 50 with the wheels, didn't even need to use them. Lewsual goes flying by. Lewsual able to make an easy save off the kickoff. A bounce dribble, and he pulled an Evo. Never going to let Evo live down, missing the boost. Nice quick shot from Dan. A single moment of weakness from Lewsual not picking up the boost right away, and Daniel 1-2s it off the wall. Bringing himself within one, Dan Pye has already secured the win. This is true. There's no way your channel points are coming back. If you bet on Lewsual, that's it. You have a few more games to sit and think about your choices. Betting against Dan was an interesting decision. You tried to become rich. You thought maybe, just maybe, this was the time he'd lose. You'd become the richest chatter in the chat, and you turned out to be wrong. And now you have to think to yourself, do I ever bet against Daniel again? Lewsual 5-5, his wall to air dribble has scored, I think, every single time. He's going to go for the double flip reset himself. Triple, maybe. Seemed like he tried to pull it into a triple. Are we going to start seeing a bit of a freestyle 1v1 from these guys? We'll see. Dan, full field to catch back up to that ball, but still too strong of a first touch. Not that he couldn't get back to it to get the flip reset, which he did easily, but just because he didn't leave a lot of angles for him to take a shot. Lewsual. Flip reset into the musty. Can he get the double? He can! Lewsual! These guys are insane, and I'd love to see them go back and forth with everything that they can give. Daniel trying to jump up and cut off the angle. Couldn't do it. You've bet against Dan many times in past show matches, but you learned from your mistakes and you made the right choice this time. Very smart. Very smart, Likashi. Definitely not a full-on freestyle 1v1. Likashi not letting Dan have his midfield boost after a Lewsual score. 7-5. Lewsual tapping it on net. Dan, every last bit of his boost trying to be spent to take Lewsual out of the play. Couldn't do it, couldn't keep Supersonic long enough. But now he's got a great flip reset play again. Trying to musty, this time too low. Lewsual should have an easy counterattack, but instead, gonna give us a show. The ground pinch is stopped out from Dan. Hopefully this match ends 6-9. That's very possible, but not too much time left. A great delayed flip from Dan. The single pop, putting the ball at a threatening position, and then clipping it with the tail of his flip to give it just the right amount of power to pop over the pre-jump in Lewsual, but not so high as to miss the shot. 6-7. The dream Likashi has in mind just might happen. Lewsual, a big win at midfield. He's going to play it patient on the bounce dribble across the net, and he'll cut it around. 6-8, 24 seconds left to go. Smart play from Lewsual near the goal line. Daniel faking the kickoff completely. Does not want to mess with any more kickoffs. Instead, trying to get an open field situation. He just dribbles it straight up on the ground the whole way and is still able to outpace Lewsual. Dan running out of time. Might drop a game here on EU, but only after going up 4-0 in the series. His ceiling reset smacked away to give Lewsual an okay. He wanted one last chance to clip in this game. His Breezio gets saved away, 6-8. Lewsual going to take at least one game on EU, as we'll play one more out. Another Dan versus Lewsual game, and it seems like we're in for fun ones. These ones might be a little bit more spicy than the last two. It seemed like Dan didn't want to throw out the GG at the end of the last one. Wanted to get a little bit more casual and fun with it. Lewsual's looking for his wins, man. He's trying to show he is one of the best 1v1ers there is. Lewsual coming for the early challenge. Dan just trying to fight Lewsual off the ball. If he could have done so, gotten a nice well-timed bump. He might have had a long shot opportunity. He's gonna wait. Oh, just almost a moment too long. Lewsual keeping him off the ball or off the 100 boost, but cannot turn his first touch into a dribble attempt. So Daniel given moments to reset here and grab boost. Lewsual trying to take the cheeky early shot, the last second opportunity with low boost. He knew he could maybe sneak in a power shot before Daniel recovered, and he probably also knew that it was an all-in attempt, but he was going to be in such a tough spot if he decided to retreat in that situation. Daniel with full boost on the counterattack is a hard one to stop. Might as well try and squeeze a goal out of it. You really want to see Daniel versus O'Khaled or Daniel versus First Killer? True. Just know I'm constantly working on getting Daniel the best possible games we can get. I promise to get you something like that before long. Dan, 2-1. Why does it say O'Khaled in the title? That was earlier. Earlier we were doing that, but it should say Dan versus Lewsual now. Nice flick from Dan. Maybe because we restarted the series. If we have a mod in chat, which I'm not sure we do, they can update it. I don't want to tab out during the series. Lewsual up the side wall. His challenge, or his air dribble challenge right away from Dan. An early challenge off the ceiling, and Lewsual caught watching. Not jumping up for this one. Seemed like he had made the recovery. He picks up a couple pads, and he's thinking about setting up a shadow instead of trying to cut off the early angle. And the slow reaction time, I think, comes from the prediction on what Dan was going to do. He didn't expect the quick shot. Thought he was going to have time to turn into the shadow defense. And he ends up letting Dan in for a fourth. Daniel, the flip reset. Couldn't turn much out of it. Tried to do a drop through like he does so frequently, but Lewsual keeping it out this time. I think there's a little edge to the way Daniel's playing after Lewsual able to take a game. Dan wants to show that the rest of these are going his way. It's possible that when the stream restarted, it like changed the title again, back to what it was when we first started the stream. Dan ripping one the whole field, going for the double, and Lewsual can't get there. Lewsual had time to do so. Oh, it's flopping a little bit on his way back to the back wall, and really just didn't get a read on what Daniel was doing fast enough. If he knew Daniel was ripping that huge power shot, he likely would have adjusted his retreat style to make sure he could get back to it in time, but instead doing tornado spins into wave dashes on the back wall is not going to cut it. Lewsual getting swept. Not quite swept. He was able to take a game. Nice flip reset. Lewsual, man, seems like he could play this aerial game so much more. The success rate when he's gone for it has been so high. And against a guy like Evo, it made maybe a little bit of sense to stay more passive and play defensive, play counterattacky. But that wasn't really working against Dan. I'd like to see him try and take more shots into the air, because not a lot of people can make Dan miss on defense, and Lewsual has found a way to do so, and at a really good rate, a high rate. I guess the biggest issue is he has been getting scored on when he doesn't succeed, which is very important, and being able to go for it multiple times. It can't be an all or nothing play every time. It has to be, a regular shot attempt that you can sometimes turn into a defense and not always give an open net. Minute 55 left to go. Daniel's turned up the heat. If Lewsual could take this final EU game and leave it at 4-2, it would be a very impressive feat from him. But Dan not going to let him go easy. Daniel from the side wall. 1, flip reset, 2, 3. He needed that last scoop to get it online. He wasn't quite able to do it. Lewsual will get a free 4th. Minute 20 though, Daniel's still in the lead. Daniel is just vicious. Yes, he is. He went a little bit clip searching in game number 5 and has since turned back up the heat here in game 6, but Lewsual keeping it close. He's been able to keep it close this whole time. A bump on the side wall is not enough. Too little, too late. Lewsual tying it up with a minute left to go. Lewsual, a night owl bump. It's not going to go in. He's going to save it himself in hopes that keeping possession will end up doing well for him, and he does. Daniel clips the inside of the post just a little bit, and as soon as Lewsual sees that, he knows he can just tap the ball quickly. Such an awkward spot to try and play D, and Daniel just looks like a lost puppy out there when he's clipping over the inside of the post that much. Every time your wheels come up the ground, you can't take that early jump. What a save. Daniel getting a little cheeky after scoring a kickoff goal. 44 seconds left to go. Lewsual to the side wall. His wall to air has been so good. A great flip reset grab, and he's going to do the Daniel to Daniel. The miss. He's going to give a close one in the chat. Lewsual has been so good at these. He's definitely earned one of these fakes. These fakes do a great job of scoring when you've been as lethal as Lewsual has. 33 seconds, Daniel quiet in the quick chat. Lewsual once again to the side wall. He hasn't been the best at turning non-perfect setups into goals, and that is maybe the biggest knock on him. Something that Daniel has no trouble doing. This time, his aerial play is eaten alive, showing us that it's not unstoppable. 7-7 with 20 seconds left to go. Dan, a strong power shot, forcing a strong save, but Lewsual able to hold on to a lot of boost. Didn't have to get up high to get it away. Dan taking a fake trip out to midfield. Doesn't end up grabbing that midfield boost, which means Lewsual's going to have a lot of space here. All the way from his own half. A high touch. Daniel not in a great spot, but he's going to use a flip reset to keep the ball out. Is he going to keep it up in the air? No way. If Daniel brings us all the way back to win without overtime. Oh, off the post. The nice shot from Lewsual. Daniel, that was about to be one of the nuttiest finishes to a game ever, but he just barely misses out. Instead, he goes to the wall to air dribble. I love that challenge from Lewsual. Daniel is so good. It's basically a guaranteed win if he lets Daniel get into his rhythm on the wall. So Lewsual goes for the all-in attempt to pinch the ball away, and it works. He has bought himself some time. That being said, who knows how much time it will be. Daniel right back in the air. The air dribble up to finish it. Lewsual takes the hit and gets the save. The counterattack not fast enough. Daniel keeps barreling down. Daniel does not have a lot of boost though. Needs to be safe in this back half. Lewsual to the side wall. Should be able to grab the 100, but Daniel aggressive right now in this final overtime of these two sets of 3 of these two players. Lewsual with a lot of open field. The flick, and game number 6 also in favor of Lewsual. Daniel will win the first 4, but Lewsual grabs 2 of them on EU as the series finishes out. GG's. Thanks for playing.